All right, guys, let's get this party started here. Hang on a second. It's that time. It's time for the Dag Show. I'm Dag.
It's almost time, get your Dag hats on.
Okay, really? We'll be right back here.
Every day I see you walking past my window, and that's okay. I see that gleam in your eye. I know you got a sweet tooth, that's alright by me. When you gonna take me home, 'cause I know you want to. Let's do it today. Oh, I got some sugar loving, kind of won't let you get away. Sugar and spice, and all that nice that's away. Got me on me. Red, white stripes, all different types, but I'm the only one for you. I'm your candy cane. I'm your candy cane. One of these days you walk inside and carry me right on out the door. That's the way you want out to be. Little spare change in a great big hug. You could ask for anything more. No one but me. Sugar and spice, and all that nice that's the way. Got me, red, white stripes, all different types, but I'm the only one for you. Give me a kiss. You can't say this was wrong. Cause I see the clock and it's ticking down, but now I should have been gone. You got some explaining to do, baby.
You're listening to Dag. It's the Dag Show, featuring Dag and some other people.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday night here on the Dag Show. I'm your host, Dag. You know this guy, the beautiful, soft, gently flowing hair. That would be me. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Obviously, there's a lot going on here in this country, and I want to touch on it just a little bit. And I want to do. I want to play some really great music. I know I played some 1096 last night and some Death Pop Radio, and I'm going to play a little bit more of their music tonight. I'm going to play another song from Death Pop Radio tonight, and another different song from 1096 as well. But we also we got to talk about what's happening in the country and the whole, Washington D.C. thing. A good friend of the show and a friend of mine, Deanna DeBello, was out in Washington. We are working on putting together a show. I know we were going to have one last week, but there was just so much going on with her going to California and my work and everything. We just couldn't seem to make it work because I'm pretty far away from her. But we're going to put a show together and have, you can hear this firsthand, really what was going on out there, and from somebody who was actually there. I will say this: I don't think the media has been feeding anybody. I don't care what media you listen to. I mean, I've been watching it all. Has been feeding any good information about it that's been 100% accurate. So that being said, I'm not really a big fan of trusting most of the mainstream media anymore. They've kind of continually, I think, let us down. And that being said, that's somewhat of a problem for me. And then look what happened today with, Facebook saying that Donald Trump is indefinitely banned from Facebook. I mean, okay, so if the media and people take anything he said out of context, then I think that should be across the board on social media and Twitter and these other platforms, social media platforms, where no politicians should be allowed to be up there. Because quite frankly, I'm frustrated, okay, because I've been reading a lot of what people are saying. And on that Mark Zuckerberg post, that got sent to me today, and I was reading through the comments, and what are you all doing? What are you all being so shitty to each other for? I mean, listen, at some point, the conservatives have to accept this, and that's just the way it is. Biden's going to be our president, and that's that. And, there's a lot of talk that there's going to be a lot of other big news and things that are going to be released. We shall see. I'm skeptical of it all at this point because for, 5 years, well, since Trump's initial win, I've been following this so closely. And I'm so frustrated because, they're always talking, Hillary's going to go to jail, Trump's going to go to jail, and Obama did this, and Hunter Biden did this, and nobody ever gets in trouble for doing any of these things. I mean, we've essentially just elected people into office that can just run amok, act a fool, do deals with other countries, and nobody seems to be paying any attention. And to the facts. And so, the media has just gotten completely worse and worse and worse in the way that I think they broach every one of these subjects. But it really bothers me. It's starting to really bother me a lot to see, Americans talking to each other the way that they're talking to each other in such dramatic fashion. Everybody's stupid. Everybody's stupid. Now we're calling everybody who voted for Trump traitors. I mean, come on. My God. I mean, saying that, we're all treasonous or whatever the case may be. Listen, I don't like the way this election went down. And in my personal opinion, I think there was a lot of fraud simply because just the basic numbers don't add up. You can't get 80-something million votes and 74 million votes and make that match against the registered voters. So, one of the responsibilities that we have as a society is to ask questions. And just because we don't like somebody shouldn't stop us from asking serious questions that don't make sense. Period. So it seems a little silly and foolish to me for us to be going, and everybody's going on social media before they have all the information, just spouting off and saying all these terrible things and insulting one another. It's just because they don't agree. I mean, it's mind-numbing to me. So we'll chat about that a little bit tonight. But one of the things we're going to do too is I did this Ask Dag thing, and this was Dino Manzella suggested that I do this, and it's turned out to be pretty cool. I had no idea I would get so many videos. So keep sending them in because I'm going to do them every show. Tonight I'm going to do more than I probably would do on any given night, just because they're fun and they're kind of funny. Some people have sent in multiple videos or asked multiple questions in the videos, and it's really interesting and it's cool to see everybody participate. So thank you so much for participating in the Dag Show and being part of what I do here and have been doing for so long. It means a lot to me. I know I say that all the time. It sounds like a broken record, but I mean it. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It means an awful lot to me. So we have a bunch of questions we're going to do on Ask Dag in a little while. And let me say hello to a few people here. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Bill Turcott. How are you? Kirk. you're here. Kirk, you got a question that I'm going to read tonight. Donna Samaria, hello, how are you? Nice to see you here tonight. Thomas Merritt, Jennifer Nanetti, Kim Burley, and Jeannie Thompson. The problem I'm speaking so fast is this coffee that you gave me, I think is triple caffeine or something. So, and we got to talk about that a little bit tonight here too, because we have new advertisers, and one of our new advertisers, well, let me get that up there, is Keurig. Okay, why can't I get, there we go. I have a camera right there on my Keurig. Let me go move it so you can see my Keurig. So that's my new Keurig. And it's the bane of my existence because I can't drink caffeinated coffee. It's killing me. I get super weirded out, and I feel all hypoglycemic, and I get all just wound up, and it's very, very bizarre and uncomfortable. So I have to drink decaffeinated coffee here at this point because it's just it's rotting my caffeinated coffee is rotting my gut out to the point to where I can't function after I drink it. It's really been oh, there's that view I wanted. There you go. You can see my soft flowing hair. We'll put it in there like that. How about that? So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to play some videos tonight. Just a couple of them of 1096. Now, what's really cool about this and why this is so important is because we have American Dag Stand, which hopefully I pulled that up. Did I? No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. So American Dag Stand is this cool new thing that we're going to be doing here. And these are the first 6 bands that have agreed to participate in this. American Dag Stand is just what it says. Think Dick Clark, I'm ripping them off. That's exactly how this is going to go down. I have no problem plagiarizing dead people. So that is what's going to happen with that. And these bands are participating. There's going to be interviews. You know, we're trying to make it special nights to make sure that, you know, we're really pushing these, helping push these bands along and get them back to playing. You know, the problem is when, with all this crap that's going on, you know, people start to forget. We start to forget about the bands and the things, you know, and the people we used to hang out with and see to a certain degree. So even after, if everything opened up tomorrow, these bands are really going to struggle regardless, and so are the club owners, because half the people are still afraid of COVID and don't want to go in public. So this is a Dag Show's attempt to you know, get us all focused on this. And for those of you who do want to go out and start having fun again, we're going to get this ball rolling. This starts in February. I know I keep saying that I'm going to tell you the club, but there's some deals that we have to work out. And until I get the go-ahead that says, okay, we're all on, there's like 3 different clubs that we're working with, and the one that we really want to do it at is probably where it's going to be done. I had a phone call today about it, and it looks like the deal's done. And as soon as that is, watch my pages. You'll see the marketing, but this place is absolutely stunning. So, and a bunch of money was just put into the sound system and the light system there. So, but those are the bands that are going to be there. Petty Union, 1096, Tafoya. Tafoya's from The Boys. Back in the day, he was in the band with Tommy Holland. Mike Tafoya was a guitar player. He's we also have Electro Retro and 5184. Did I say 1096? Yeah, 1096. So all these great bands are coming together, and there's a whole list of them in the pipeline. I think we're going to do some these drummy things that Mike's Drum Shop does. They've been really successful, and it's been fun because the Mike's Drum Shop brings out the drum kits and we set this whole thing up, and kind of like what they did at Neighborhood Inn, where you get out there and you just start playing, man. So It's almost like Bandioki, but different. But that's what's going to be happening on American Dag Stand. That's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a great way to showcase bands. We'll be shooting them live, setting up virtual tip jars for them. So for those of you who don't want to go see a band because you're afraid of COVID, you'll be able to contribute to their success right from your home and right from your phone or your tablet or whatever the case may be. So American Dag Stand is going to be pretty cool. Let me just say hi here to who just tuned in here, Lynette. Hi, Lynette. How are you? Nice to see you. Anyway, why don't we do this? And let me get a song on here. Let me pull something up here. We'll get this rocking and rolling. And let's get you set up here for, let's see, who do I want to play first? I'm going to go ahead and play 1096 first. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play 1096 first. All right. Let's get this rocking and rolling. So we'll do this guy right there. And let's start this party. We'll be right back here on The Dag Show. Stay tuned. Ask Dags coming up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How was work last night?
Work was fine.
That's funny, I stopped by there.
And?
You weren't there. In fact, they don't even know who you are.
What?
What's going on? What you been doing at night?
I don't have time for this.
Oh, you don't have time for this, huh? Really? Where are you going? What are you doing? Come on, what are you doing? Really? Where are you going? Where are you going? Lay it out. Let's talk about life. Breathe in. Won't fret about tomorrow anymore. Don't wanna talk too much. I really think I'll miss your touch and love. Don't wanna let you go. It hurts too much to show you in my love is just a pain.
1096 Emotion. Great song, man. Great band. Big things are going to be happening for this band, I think, here in Chicago. From what I understand, and I don't know this for sure, but in talking to some other people in the music industry, they think that they're pretty close to a deal. So I know they've had some interest, I think, from Atlantic Records, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't confirmed it. Their manager's been in Nashville, so I haven't had the opportunity to really dive in on that conversation too much with them. But I will. You will hear it when we do the American Dag Stand. You're going to hear everything about these bands. So anyway, let's get back to chatting here a little bit about what's been going on here in Washington D.C. Okay, so we know that essentially Trump has conceded. Okay, so that's done. Pence is, they certified all the votes, and again. I personally think the election was bogus. The math just doesn't add up for me. It doesn't add up, period. I mean, it doesn't add up for a calculator based on the amount of votes people got. If you're just looking at how many votes Trump got and then say Biden, it's more than there are registered voters in this country. So that being said, then we have, the Sequoia software, which is a problem, and you have mail-in voting and, all these other things. When you look at the pictures, and they're all over the internet, first of all, I know people who were there, other than Deanna, the last couple of days in Washington, D.C., and they swear up and down that those people, first of all, I watched the guards on the news live. The police, the Capitol Police, or whoever they were, moved those rails and let those people, those fences, and let those people in. I mean, they literally moved them. I watched it in real time, live. So they let them to that kind of side door of the Senate and let them in. Then you see these guys. There was all this stuff all over the internet, and again, it's really tough to tell who's telling the truth anymore. I mean, it's out of control in some regards. But there was enough evidence for me to see that there were people that were with Antifa that were making posts saying, "Listen, here's what's going on. You dress up in Trump gear, put your hat on backwards, bring a Trump flag." And when you watch those videos, the videos of the people beating on the glass and climbing up the building, it's very reminiscent of Portland, Seattle, and Kenosha. And that behavior is not something you would see in conservatives generally. Generally, conservatives are over 35 years old. Okay, they're working class people and executives and plumbers, and they're climbing up the Capitol building. And smashing out windows. It's just really not. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen. Don't get me wrong here. I'm trying to do this in the middle. This is why I have been so quiet on these issues and not coming out yelling, busting everybody's chops on this, because I'm not 100% convinced on what I'm supposed to believe. What we should anticipate to be reality, because there's been too much BS being spread around between all social media and mainstream media. So, but it's just not reminiscent of a 50-year-old conservative to scale a wall in the Capitol building dressed in black with, pipes and stuff or whatever they had, smashing out windows. It's not something that's inherently a behavior you'd see in the party, because it's not made up of really young people. Most people don't become real conservatives. You start out liberal like I did. You don't become a conservative until generally after 35. That's statistically factual. So it's just not something that you see people with kids and a home and a mortgage really, in real jobs want to get arrested for behaving like complete lunatics. And you're not going to see us dress up in those costumes either. Like that guy was in the wolf costume or whatever the hell it was with the horns, the devil costume, whatever you want to call it. It's just not something you're going to see people do. Now, do I think I saw a picture of a guy who totally looked my age and looked like a conservative sitting, they went into somebody's senator's office, sat down in the chair, and laid his Trump flag down on a table, and they were snapping pictures. So who knows? Regardless, again, I'm going to say this again, and I said it last night. That is what we are. Sorry, I just got distracted here. I was just reading something. That's where we should be protesting. And I want to say this, we shouldn't be going to Washington, D.C. and burning it down. And I'm a little miffed at the hypocrisy that the mayor is going to put a curfew on, but yet she let people burn the city down and loot businesses. I mean, although there was some damage done at the Capitol building, and obviously, a lady got shot, and from what I saw this morning, there were 4 people who died, but there was no explanation as to what the other 3 people died from. The video is clear. It's on my page of that woman who got shot. She wasn't busting through the door, so I don't understand how that whole thing happened. But there were, from what I understand, there was about 1 million people there. So you can understand, I can completely understand how how conservatives are really frustrated, because most conservatives like me don't believe the election was valid, regardless of what the Electoral College says or all these elected officials. But I don't condone any of that bum rush in the Capitol building. However, that is bought and paid for by taxpayers. So if you're going to go and you're going to break a window out of anything, break something of our own. Don't, but I didn't hear Biden or Kamala Harris. In fact, August 31st, Kamala Harris said rioters shouldn't stop looting and burning down cities. That's essentially what she said. They should not stop rioting. Kamala Harris said that. So, now they want peace, and that this is terrible, and conservatives are now terrible. Through all of this, all year, conservatives were not burning down cities, because it doesn't make sense to a logical person to go, hey, I'm really upset with the political climate of our town or our state or the United States for that matter. I'm going to go break into a Marshall's and a Target and a Macy's, and I'm going to just steal everything I want and make a mess. And then when I'm done, I'm going to burn it down and occupy the city. I mean, come on, man. This is complete and utter madness, and no matter how you slice it, people, it's hypocrisy. It's absolute hypocrisy when for the last year that Democrats and people on the left condoned or did not condemn this behavior of destroying cities. I mean, in what was Portland occupied for? Like 100 days, over 100 days, I think. It was occupied. So, if people are going to go out and protest and make a scene and act stupid, do it at a government building, because it's yours. It belongs to the taxpayer. I mean, I don't think we should be storming any building. Personally, I don't think that should happen. But if you have to, if you're really that angry, don't burn down regular businesses and say that's okay and hurt your neighbors and other Americans, and then be mad at other people for going to where the fight should be taken to. And the fight that happened this week needed to happen in Washington. That's where it was supposed to happen. That's where our POTUS is. That's where all our politicians who have made, quite frankly, all of the politicians have made a mockery of us, the people. All of them. I don't buy, I don't see and didn't hear in anything Trump said at the rally that incited violence, to say, yes, protest and get out there and be heard is not inciting violence. Again, you had almost 1 million people, whatever it was, whatever the number was, very, very large numbers of people all over Washington, D.C., and not one building was burnt down. So, no grocery store, electronic stores, Best Buys or whatever's down there, restaurants were had chairs thrown through windows, and protesters weren't out shooting people. Come on, man. So, again, I'm going to step back on this because this is really, really important that we understand this. What is happening right now? Nobody. I don't think Washington has all the facts necessarily yet. For us to think that we have all the facts and know exactly what's going to happen or what's right or what's wrong or what's crooked or what's not, what's a lie, what's a truth, is preposterous. We can't know it. Fox is saying one thing, CNN saying another, MSNBC saying another, Newsmax is saying another, AON is saying another. Who do you believe? And it's kind of funny because I've been reading some things that sound very conspiracy theorist on both sides, so I don't necessarily buy into either one of them. But who knows? Who knows how much of the information in these stories and articles I'm reading are true? If you do a little homework, you can find truths in all of them, really. And at some point, rather than we shouldn't be yet screaming at each other. You can't go on Facebook and just keep calling everybody an asshole, telling people who don't see your point of view that they're treasonous or traitors. Are you kidding me? We all work hard every day and provide for this country. Any person who gets up every day and pays taxes is helping provide for the nation on some level. So that's not going to stop. So why do you want to be so shitty to each other is beyond me. I mean, we don't have to agree, but that doesn't make me a traitor. It doesn't make you treasonous. It doesn't make you scum. One could argue that maybe it doesn't make you that bright. Maybe it doesn't make the next person that well versed on history or the Constitution. I mean, come on. How can all of us know all of it? We just can't. So, I make mistakes on my show all the time. I got to come back and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But at the end of the day, this insane and crazy behavior that I'm seeing is not healthy for any of us. It's just not healthy for America. And we individually are in control of that behavior. We have the ability to say, listen, I'm not going to be an asshole today, and I'm not going to call my friends on Facebook names because we disagree. Our freedom is at stake here. And those are the things that I think about when I get up in the morning is what does that freedom mean to me? Do I want the freedom to be able to go buy a 50-inch TV at 2 in the morning in a 24-hour Walmart or go grocery shopping 24 hours a day, or to buy any car I want, or to build any business I want, or to invest in what I want, to bank where I want, to go to whichever doctor I want? Yes, I want those things. And I don't want them to be at risk. And, here's what I think a lot of conservatives don't understand is I don't think Democrats really want to risk that either. They don't want to risk, they might have this ideology, the left, that they want to help people, want to let people over the border, illegally, which I don't agree with. But that's kind of a genuine feeling to want to help people, isn't it? I mean, isn't it kind of a genuine and kind emotion to want to help people be part of this great institution called the United States of America, this wonderful republic where those kinds of freedoms have never been explored or seen by other people? So I do understand where Democrats get. I was a liberal Democrat most of my life, my voting life. I understand that. I want to help people too, but I don't want to do it at the expense of everybody else necessarily. I don't mind, paying another 5 cents, 10 cents on the dollar that I earn to help downtrodden people. I want to make sure, though, that we prioritize that, and we're helping our own first, and we're helping our military vets. Those, that we're not defunding the police. We need law and order in this country in order to feel safe. I don't want the government telling me that my neighborhood now has to be a certain percentage of Section 8. Are you out of your mind? Oh, that's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea to force people to have to devalue their own property in the name of something you want or you feel. So, if you live in a community where you're willing to let, and I suggest before you start, because this has been an issue I've been looking into, and it's kind of bothering me because it's kind of a platform of Kamala Harris. It's very radical in the squad. It's a big AOC issue. Now we're going to have, they're going to have control of everything, really, at this point. You go out and you buy a home, and let's just say that home is $300,000, and now you're going to make it Section 8. I suggest you go look at places that are Section 8. They're really not that well maintained. People don't care because they're not paying for it. I'm not trying to say people who are poor are dirty. That's not what I'm saying, but let's call a spade a spade. Neighborhoods where people aren't forced to take pride because that's not their investment in it don't look that nice. They just don't. So I don't want that to happen where I live. And most people, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a conservative, you don't want that to happen in your neighborhood. You want to see your $300,000 mortgage now be that house. Did you got a $300,000 mortgage on now be worth $220 because nobody wants to buy homes there anymore because they're being forced. Those neighborhoods or those communities are being forced to make a certain percentage of it Section 8. Those aren't logical thought processes that we should be agreeing with regardless of what you believe. Just doesn't make any sense. And this is my problem with everybody on all these issues, is you got to take them one step at a time. How can we all possibly know what the hell is going on in every state in regards to their elections, how they're handled? And we hear little bits and pieces, and then we assume that that's all fact. And, you can send me 100 videos, but like I saw some videos on YouTube about them going through these election machines, these voting machines. And I wanted my 30 minutes of my life back because it really didn't prove anything to me. So, and not every video was like that. Some things you did see flaws and some things you didn't. But sometimes you didn't see the flaws as big as the claim is being made to be. And sometimes the flaws they're trying to tell you are there, they're not really explaining. So I don't really know if they're there. So we're all up in arms about things we have shitty information on. So now I know I'm going to get some crap from my conservative friends. Because, I'm sounding like I'm flip-flopping here, and I'm not flip-flopping. I'm just trying to be logical and reasonable here and say, hey, listen, we have to ask specific questions. The reason I think the election is flawed, because at the very beginning, based on the number of registered voters and the number of votes that were cast, there were more votes cast than there are registered voters. So just start there. That's where you start, If you got a pool and there's a leak in it, you don't fill it all the way to the top to find the leak. That's stupid. You're just going to waste everything that's inside it, and it's going to be that much harder to find the real answer, the real problem, because it's full of water. Maybe not the best analogy, but you get where I'm going here. So if you just ask the one question, how did we get more votes than there are registered voters, that should make every single American go, wait a minute, hold on, how is that possible? We, as a country, in the Harvard study that was done in 2019, ranked the lowest, one rung from the bottom, lowest of developed countries in voter integrity. Our country ranks lowest in the world of developed countries in voter integrity. Do you know that? Think about how heavy that is. We are below Sudan, Bolivia, Germany, Australia. We ranked I think it was 27th out of 28 or 36 out of 37 developed countries. We ranked at the bottom. And we ranked at the very bottom in free countries, in all free, it was just like 50 something all free countries, 57 or 59 these free countries. I can't remember what the exact number was, but we ranked at the very bottom there, the very bottom in voter integrity, in election integrity. I mean, okay, so you tell me that we got X amount of votes, but there's only this many amount of registered voters. Harvard did a study a year and a half ago, and said we rank at the bottom. Right there, just stop. Just start asking questions. Go, how does this happen? Read the study. And then slowly start asking questions, and I think we could come to a resolution of what's true and what's not. And, but that's not happening. Everybody's just shouting and screaming, and it's stupid, and and everybody's angry, and it's not accomplishing anything for any of us. It's just making us bitter towards one another. We need each other in this country. We need each other. Like it or not, we need each other. And we should be, pausing and taking a step back before we shout out derogatory comments to our neighbors and our friends and our family over an election. It's in candidates. It doesn't make any sense. Now, how do we prevent this going forward? And I've been saying this for 5.5 years. Actually, I was saying it back on radio in the mid-90s. It is, all of this starts to have integrity in your election process, starts locally. It starts on the smallest level, from your school board to your local municipality, to your county. See, when politicians realize you're not paying that close of attention, that's when bad things happen. Politicians are like little kids. When you're not watching them, then, all of a sudden they're in your purse, or they're in the cabinets pulling all the flour out. That's when that shit happens, when nobody's paying attention. It brings something up, and it's stupid. When one of my little brothers, when he was a kid, we were in the house and nobody was paying attention to him. He pissed on it and pulled his shit out and peed on an electrical outlet and started a fire in the house because nobody was paying attention. That's what happens when you let incapable people. And listen, what is the qualification to be Speaker of the House, or to be the mayor of your town, or to be the treasurer? Does anybody really know? What's the requirement? Desire? I mean, pretty much, if you can run for just about any office, you don't need a college degree, You can clearly have been accused of horrible crimes, like this guy in Georgia, beating his wife, and Jesus Christ. Remember Mayor, what was his name, Marion Barry, and I think Jersey or New York. A guy gets busted on camera buying cocaine, and gets reelected. So what is the qualification? Since there's really not a qualification, a standard of excellence we demand from our politicians, that's absolutely and exactly why we need to be more involved on the local level. Because the local level influences the county level, and the county level influences the state, and the state influences the federal, and so on down the line. And as long as politicians know you're paying attention from the beginning, it's going to be really hard for them to screw you in the end. But if the only time you're really getting involved is at the end and just in the presidency, and you're ignoring all those little things in the middle, well, this is what we get. This is our fault. American people, 330 million American people, 153 million registered voters. This is our fault that we are in this situation. Make no mistakes about this. We let too much go for too long. I live in Illinois, where there is no civilian oversight the way there should be, and our state is on the verge of bankruptcy constantly. Haven't had a budget in forever. And all they keep doing is just raising taxes to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And the Peter they're borrowing from is us. And they're not even asking. They're just taking. They're just saying, hey, we're going to have 3 gas increases this year in 12 months. You don't get asked. You don't have anything to say about it. They go, well, we're broke. And we're behind $10 billion in our pension fund because we squandered all the money. When you let the kids out to play, you got to keep an eye on them, close eye on them. And if you don't, this is what happens. Again, I'm going to say this again. Where we are at today is our fault. We took this shit for granted for too long. And we said, I like that guy, I'll vote for that guy. Cool, he's a nice guy. And then you just let him go, run him up for 2 to 4 years, depending on which office he's holding. I mean, think about it. This isn't the person on Facebook you got to blame, or your next door neighbor, or your sister, your cousin, your friend. It's you, it's me. We got to blame each other, ourselves, I mean. This isn't Dave's fault because he's a Democrat. This is all of our faults because we allowed this to happen. For 4 decades, it's been getting terrible. And it's just important that we start taking some onus in this and standing up and going, you know what? I don't want to fight with my friends and family anymore. I don't want to wake up and be a complete, lunatic on the internet because I have some culpability here too. We all do. We all take everything in this country for granted. Now government is so big, it's more powerful than the people. And again, regardless of what side of the aisle you stand on, if you trust these people implicitly, there's something wrong with you. Because I'm a conservative and I don't trust any of them. I want to know note for note. How do you put together a bill with 5,600 pages and expect somebody to read it? I cannot believe that you got 2 or 3 hours to read a 5,600 page bill. Can you read a 5,600 page book in 2 or 3 hours? No, it's impossible. And I cannot believe that the entire country was not like conservatives, liberals, Democrats, everybody, all in Washington going, why are you giving away $700 billion of our dollars? We need that money. Our people need that money. Our businesses need that money. Our American workers need that money. Our veterans need that money. Our homeless needs that money. The education system needs that money. To this day, I have yet to hear any justification as to why $700 billion was given away in the first place to anybody. I've heard what it's for, but why? Why? Why is every voting citizen not livid? We should have been all united at Washington going, we want our $700 billion back. Congress? You're just going to ignore that? So that's a problem with money today because people are out of touch with it. I'm going to say this, I said it a million times on my show. Let's make a comparison let's use money, make a comparison about money to time. Okay? We have a $27 trillion debt. If we paid off now wrap your head around this. If you paid $1 a second off to $1 million, it would take you 35 days to pay for it. If you paid $1 a second on $1 billion, it would take you 35 years. If you paid $1 a second on $1 trillion, on $1 trillion, it would take 35,000 years. So to pay off the national debt, it'd take approximately 800,000 years at $1 a second. That's how different and dramatic 1 million, 1 billion, 1 trillion are. People don't realize that. But everybody talks about money like it's nothing. That's hard-earned money. And all the money that we've taken in stimulus is borrowed money. We have to pay it back to some country. You can't just keep printing money because then the money that exists has no value. All right. I don't know how everybody feels about all that right now. you know, it's a sad state of affairs we're in here right now. It really is, and I'm disappointed in all of us, in myself. I should do a better job of myself in staying focused in my community and being more active in those elections. What's going on? Being more attuned to the ideologies that people want to bring to office. And making sure I'm at the polls more often on the smaller things. I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not trying to sit here and preach and get on my soapbox like I'm some, awesome guy, because I'm far from perfect, people. But it is certainly something I think we should all look at, and something we should be honest with ourselves about when it comes to these kinds of things. So that being said, I want to play one more song, and then I want to go into Ask Dag, because that's kind of the reason I put the show on tonight, was because on this Ask Dag thing, I'll tell you when I come back. But it's really turned out to be funny, and I thought it was going to be stupid initially, but it certainly wasn't any of that. It's really turned out to be very entertaining, and I'm glad we decided to do it. So I'm going to hit you with some Death Pop Radio here, and we will be right back here on the Dag Show, and we'll listen to what some people have to say, what kind of questions they have for me, and I think you'll enjoy it. Anywho, we'll be right back here on the Dag Show.
Wake up! Drop dead!
Hey guys, that's Death Pop Radio. I love these guys. Wake Up and Drop Dead. You gotta love it. Great band and very unassuming band. Like if you saw them in a grocery store, you wouldn't think they were these great musicians. You know, their bass player's an animal, their drummer's an animal, their guitar player's fierce, and it's just again, I said it the other day. One of my favorite bands in Chicago right now, and both them and 1096. I'm in love with these guys. Everybody's doing a great job. So let's do this, and we'll kind of do this here and end our little adventure here today. This was an idea that was brought to me. This Ask Dag thing. And he said, it was Dino Manzella who said it. And he says, listen, ask people to send in a video of a question that they might want to ask you. And I'm like, why would, who's going to want to ask me questions? I mean, really, what kind of questions are people going to ask? And he's like, just do it. See what happens. Because I think it would be interesting and I think people would get a kick out of it. So I said, all right, I'll try it, and I was kind of embarrassed to ask people. I didn't really want to, impose on anybody to do it. And, oh my God, I have so many videos coming in that I can't even get them all organized. They're coming in Messenger, they're coming in Dropbox, they're coming in text messages. They're coming in all these different formats that I have to figure out how to save them from. And then I have to get them into one place where I can put them up and remember who everybody is. Because I don't know a lot of people I don't know. They're coming in from all over the country. So, and people are sending in multiple videos. They're not just sending in one. Or they're asking a couple of questions in one video. So, we thought it would be fun to go ahead and do this. And let's see, who do we start out? I'm gonna put these videos up. You'll see the people that are here. This is turning into a production, a lot of production work for me to try and do all this by myself. But let's see who I should do first here. And I'm gonna do, when I do the shows, I'll do a few of these a night. Until everybody gets bored with it or stops sending me videos, but keep sending them in. Come up with any question. It can be political, it can be serious, it could be about the music industry, it could be about my personal life, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. Any question you could come up with that you think I might have an interesting or funny answer for or a serious answer for, you go ahead and send them off to me. You can send them in Messenger. You can send them to the Dag Show at USA, dagshowusa@gmail.com. Or if you happen to be fortunate enough to have my private number, you can text them to me. But if you're going to do multiple questions, send them in multiple videos, and we'll use them on different days. So let's see, who will we go with first here? How about if we go with, let's go with this guy, because a lot of people know this guy. And I got to pull this thing out. We're going to do Ron Thomas first. And yeah, and I can't find one of these other cables I needed today. I don't know what the hell I did with it. But let's make sure this all works right here. So, let's do this.
Hey, this is Ron Thomas, drummer for Veilside, lead euphonium player, Billy Barty of the Polka Nuts. I got one question for Dag, or as I know him, Sexy Boy 2491 from his Grindr profile. That's another story. How do you get your hair so soft?
Okay. Thank you, Ron Thomas from Veilside. This is what's funny about it. Okay, so of all these videos that are coming in, and I'm telling you, I got like 50 of them. I'm going to venture to say about 7 of them are about my soft hair. So I constantly am talking about how soft my hair is, and it is very soft. I like to refer to my hair as kind of like a thigh blanket. And how do I get it soft? I don't put product in it. Nothing. It's just all naturally beautiful, wavy like this. And I use a shampoo and a conditioner, and I comb it out. It's wonderful. It's really, really wonderful. So that's how I keep my hair so soft, and it's soft. Like I said, it's a thigh blanket. Let's do another one here. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's do All right. This is Patty from Florida. Hold on. How do I get rid of that? How do I get rid of Ron Thomas, drummer? Where did he go? Oh, there it is. So this is Patty from Florida.
Hi, Dad. I'm in my new shower with my nice white tile. Ken and I did a great job. It holds about 10. So, my question to you is, how many people have you been in the shower with for a hot tub?
Well, that's an outstanding question. And if you've known me for a long time, you would know that, wow, how do I say this without sounding like a complete and total pig? Well, I'm an adventurous guy. Let's just say that. Being in a big shower or being naked in the hot tub or my swimming pool back in the day, those were regular parties at my house. They were legendary. Yes, it was. I felt there was a period of time in my life where I felt like a little miniature Hugh Hefner. It's just the women would come over and fill up the pool, and nobody had any clothes on. Fill up the pool in the hot tub, and my hot tub waterfalled into my pool. It was really cool, and it was and I had a waterfall at the end of the pool, and yeah. So lots of people have been. I've been in showers and hot tubs and swimming pools with naked. But lots of times. I like that kind of stuff. It's fun. Not so much now, and I don't do it anymore because I don't have a swimming pool, and I don't go out or hang out with people anymore. So I'm terrified of everybody in the world. So thank you, Patty, for that question. That's fun. And there's questions that are coming in. There's some really, really cool ones that are really serious. And here, let's do this one. This is. Let's see, where is it? Kirk Hagenow from Pennsylvania.
What's up, Mr. Dag? Kirk Hagenow here. Pennsylvania. Here's my question. After today's events, do you think a civil war is imminent? Meaning, is the shit going to hit the fan? Peace.
No, peace out. Thanks, Kirk, for that question. Man, I hope not. That would be a shame if the infighting within the citizens of this country, if in the greatest country in the world and the freest country in the world and the most privileged country in the world, if we really went to a civil war. Now, we've all talked about it in a weird way, going, yeah, it's got to be a civil war, and we feel tough and everything. But really, if you just step back once again, take a deep breath, and go, we don't want this. I don't want us to start shooting up our neighborhoods and throwing bricks at each other simply because we disagree. So personally, I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think a majority of Americans want that. I don't think a majority of Americans want to start hurting other Americans. Is there a faction of people who will behave badly? Well, we've seen that all year long. Yeah, you got Antifa and you got BLM and, Poor Boys or whatever the case may be. But, I don't really see that becoming a huge problem. I just don't see that happening personally. Now, I've been wrong before. Boy, I hope I'm right. This time, I hope I'm 100% right. Yeah, so that's where we're at there, in my opinion. But thanks, Kurt, for the question. See, some of the questions are serious. I like the serious questions. Let's see here. Who else we got? Let's see. We got. Oh boy, this is one I had to think about. Some of these I haven't even heard the questions yet, but this one I did. Now this is Steve. I've known Steve a long time, so this was fun for him to send this in. All right,
Dag. Having known you for about 30 years, I want you to rate your major loves in your life, because I know them all. I know them all. Got it.
You want me to rate him?
What you say about that one?
All right, Steve. Well, this question I did listen to when he sent it to me yesterday, or whatever day that was. He sent it to me, and I had to really think about how I was going to answer this one, because now as a more mature man, an older man, I define the love thing is defined differently for me. I think I'm a little more honest with myself about what my relationships meant to me in the past, and whether or not I think a lot of times we think we're in love and we're not. We might be in lust, or we might just like the idea of a relationship. Being in love is a very large commitment, and it takes a lot of work. So let me break it down. I think, if I think of being in love, it's head over heels for somebody. Just where I can't stop thinking about this person. And when I first started thinking about this question, I'm like, God, man, was I really in love with that many different women? And the answer is no. My first wife and the mother of my kids, I love that woman to pieces, still do. Was I in love? I don't think I was mature enough to be in love. I loved her implicitly, but being in love, I would say in that situation, no. And I haven't really had that many relationships where they were that serious in my life. So after that one, there was a woman who, again, Mary, who I loved to death. We've been great friends for 32 years. We on and off kind of dated, but it never really took off. Did I love that woman? Yes, I still do to this day. Was I in love with her? I think I thought I was, but I don't know. I think that was a situation I was infatuated with. Then there was, since Steve knows, I can't leave Kathy out. I was crazy about Kathy. My kids hated Kathy. It was 2 years of a struggle, which I didn't know that my kids hated her until kind of the very end. And actually, until after we had split up. I knew my kids were uncomfortable, but I didn't think they hated her. And I had, Kathy and I stayed friends. Let me answer the question. I don't think I was in love with Kathy either. I think I loved Kathy, she was kind of a freak, so I really dug that. But in love, no, if I was in love, I don't think I would have broke up with her. I would have, well, I don't know. But then I met Linda, and I found out that Kathy had come over to visit. She was in the neighborhood and wanted to stop in and say hi to the kids, and the kids took off out of the house and called their mom, and I had no idea that the kids hated Kathy this much. None. They never said anything to me, and they were little, but so that I had to send her away that day. But in love, Linda, yes. Yes, I was in love with Linda. That's my longest relationship of any kind, 25 years, but an odd relationship, because in that 25 years, we only lived together about 15 of them. I lived on the West Coast for a while, and then when I came back, we didn't live together. I had a condo in Glen Ellen, and she was she had a place in Naperville, and then we lived together again, and then we didn't live together for 7 years, So that kind of was, when I was on the West Coast, I was flying back pretty regularly. But yes, Linda, I was in love with. I'm going to get to the rating here because I have to define who I was in love with and who I wasn't. There was. Yeah, this person's name I can't say, but Maggie. I loved Maggie. I still do. I'm not in love with Maggie. I kind of thought I was, but it turned out I don't think I really was. What the heck is happening here? I love that whole relationship because I love the family. And it was a weird time in both of our lives where we were able to lean on each other, but we never dated. So no, I wouldn't say I was in love with her. Did I love her like crazy? Yeah, I still do. She's a very good friend of mine, and if I would do anything for her or her family if they asked. So I've been in love with one person technically, other than myself, so far, and then there was one other person that I dated. I spent almost 2 years with. I can't remember her name. And that person, yes. That person I was head over heels in love with, hands down. So I was only in love with 2 women. So I really only have to rate 2 women. But here's the funny thing. I'm going to rate them both. My emotional state, the women, I'm going to rate them both a number 1 in how I felt. Not in regards to my relationship, because my relationship with Linda is a pain in the ass. We're still very, very close. We talk almost every day. But she's a pain in my ass. One, she's got very leftist views, and the older she gets, the more leftist she seems to become. We do not agree on politics at all. And Linda is a personality where she's so worried about what can go wrong that she pays no attention to what can go right. So it's always been very frustrating for me in every level of my relationship with that woman, because of that. Because it takes the fun out of life when you're just always so serious and it's just all business and it's, it gets old. And that's part of the reason that we lived apart for a long time. But as far as 2 people go, there's never been anybody else I've loved that way ever in my life, except for maybe my grandparents. But Linda, hands down, that woman is, I love her to death. But so which brings me to the next one, the one I can't remember her name. Yes, madly in love with this woman. Had no idea how to manage it. No idea, because it was a different relationship than any relationship I've ever been in. I've never had a woman in my life who had, when things were good, was so attentive to me, and never anybody, not a single woman, not my mother, not my grandparents. So that relationship was really, really important to me. I had no clue how to manage it. Neither did she. We didn't know how to manage each other. So there's only 2 women that I was ever really in love with. And it was 2 kind of different things. Linda came into my life at a time when, my kids were little. She helped raise the kids. Linda and I never had children together. She was just a huge part of our life. So, that what she did for our family and how, she brought a lot of stability to our family and structure in that sense, and we could always count on Linda for everything. She did everything for everybody all the time. And Linda was on the radio show with me, and she was at award shows with me, and she was always with me with the music business. So that was amazing. And then the last one, the girl's name I can't remember, but those were really the only 2 times I was ever really deeply in love. And both of them were very, very different. And they were both really special and meant a lot to me. Still do. So, just is what it is. So that's my answer to that one. That was kind of a big question. All right, let's see here. What do we got here? We'll go to, maybe we'll do one more here. We'll do Jen from Arizona.
Jen here. Looking forward to the Uber interviews you're going to be doing, and I think my only question is, you want to get away? It's beautiful here.
Yes, I do want to get away. In fact, I can't wait to get away. I've had 2 vacations my whole life. I got once when I was a teenager, my dad took me to Disney World, and then on my honeymoon to Linda, are the only 2 vacations I've ever had in my life. So I've been a workaholic my whole life, and leaving and getting away from work was always a really hard thing for me. So yeah, I think about getting away all the time. And I'll tell you what, Jen, when I do get down to Arizona, I will be looking you up. So we go out, hang out, have dinner, have a beer, whatever the case may be. All right, let's see here. Let's do Tracy here. Oh, let's turn Steve off. I put Steve's name up where Jen was. All right, we'll do this last one. Let's see what this. I can't remember what this one was. I know who it is, but.
Hey, this is Tracy, the drummer for Sabbath Chicago. My question for Dag is, Dag, with your knowledge of what's going on in the music scene today, what advice would you give a musician 20 years ago?
What would I give him 20 years ago? That's my advice, listen, my advice has always been the same because, it's kind of like when it comes to marketing your business, whether you're an online business or you're marketing it through social media or you're a brick and mortar store, you still have to stay focused on getting to the people. Just putting up a website or a Facebook page isn't enough. You got to work that thing like a freaking pony, man, like a mule. And if you're not working and constantly creating content and constantly keeping people aware and constantly trying to get people to come to your page and to like, share, and follow, which that's something I'm terrible at. By the way, like, share, and follow this. If you like anything I do here, like, share, and follow it. It's important. It's the only way we're going to grow, get a bigger voice, and be able to do these things. But anyway, that's something I see a lot that bands don't do well. They don't market themselves well, and they don't market themselves consistently. You gotta take gigs that don't pay. You gotta, because you could be in front of a bigger audience. You gotta take the time to work your Facebook fans and create content. There's a band out of New Jersey called Elm Treason that I like a lot, and these guys are constantly being creative with their internet and putting up videos and staying in front of their fans, and that's why they have 10,000 followers. And that's why when they do a show, it's just 2 guys, and when they go do a show, they fill it up. People come and see them because, one, you got to take a look at what you have in regards to, what's your marketing average. The internet marketing average is about the same as direct mail. About 0.3% of the people that you have on your fan base will show up to see you if you're, doing a show. So if you've got 100 fans, you don't have enough fans on your page to get anybody there. If you've got 1,000, you barely got enough, You got to constantly keep pushing it, and you got to work these different social media platforms. This is why now we have this little team behind us, because right now I just got put into more restrictions, just got a notification from Facebook that I'm in more restrictions. So imagine, being in restrictions and trying to market your page and your website and all this. People don't see it. They don't get notifications. And if you're not encouraging people to like, share, and follow, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to like, share, and follow. You also got to encourage them to hit the little hearts button and the thumbs up button, because that all registers in the algorithms of Facebook and these different media platforms. So it's really important that you do that. Notice how terrible I am at it. I mean, it's my biggest flaw. Is that I forget to do these things. Now we have to put up hashtags because we have advertisers and things that are all going to start being on the show. Well, every 15 minutes, I got to read another ad and put up a logo. I have to. You got to get in the habit of doing these things. Bands, if you just spend the time, if you got 4 guys in the band and each of you spend 10 minutes a day, in the morning and at night, and putting up that content and sharing it amongst your personal pages, you'll build that audience. But what's important is you got to get as many people as you can, because if your return's only going to be 0.3% or 0.5% when you do a show, that's going to have a big effect on your draw. So you and take any gig you can if it's gonna give you an opportunity. I mean, when we played with the Depp, man, I would take gigs and I paid my band, for every show. Whether we took a gig and I made $100 to open for Foghat, or I made $1,000, everybody got paid the same for every gig. So I had to make these ridiculous, commitments, and it was hard. But we worked. When we would go out and we would do a show, the internet wasn't like it is today. There was no YouTube. There was none of that stuff, no social media. But we would go around and we would we printed up cards, get people's names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. And I would have people walk around. We'd put them on tables, and then I'd have them walk around during the show because they'd wind up becoming coasters, and they'd have a handful of these cards and golf pencils, and they would literally make people fill them out. And then they would put a comment, on the card. Try and get them to comment on the band, how they liked it, what they liked about the music, what they didn't. And then we could use those things in marketing. But again, being proactive. Another thing bands got to do is stay after the show. And I don't care if there's 5 people there or 500 people there. You need to stay after the show and get to know your audience. Look at all these big bands now. They're doing more intimate shows. They're doing smaller shows. And this has been happening for the last decade and a half, because it gives them an opportunity. If you want to stay relevant, you got to connect with the people the way people need to connect with you. So, the age of the internet, anybody can make a video. You go from back when we had Dag Nabbit, we spent $250,000 building that studio, and now you can put that whole studio together for $10,000 on an Apple laptop. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, as the consumers' habits change and their needs change and the way they get their information changes, remember, your audience is getting as old as you are. So you got to be willing, if you want to grab that audience before, you better be planning now for getting those kids that are 18. If you plan to have any career as a band, any success as a musician, you need to start planning how you're going to get those people in 3 years when they're 21. So you need to start thinking like that. That's really, really critical in my opinion, and I don't think enough people think that far ahead. Anyway, well, this was fun. And again, like, share, and follow. Get out and buy a Keurig. And stay tuned. I'm going to keep doing some more of these Ask Dags. They're really, some of the ones that are coming in are really funny. And we will get to them on each show. I'll do a couple of them each show from now on, and just keep sending them in. Like I said, send them in Messenger, send them whatever, any kind of question. Have some fun with it if you want. But thank you all very much for paying any attention to me. Please, when you go out there now, man, and you get online, take a break before you start typing something back and responding to people and, your friends and friends of friends. It's up to us to bring the country back together. For us to be looking at our politicians to bring the country back together is ridiculous. It's up to us. We have the power to do it, and we should. And we can do a lot of that through music and rock and roll and having these great events and American Dag Stand and getting us all in the same room together to high five, have a beer, and listen to some great music. There's nothing more powerful than the poetry of music to bring people together and forget about all the other BS. So, I want to thank everybody whose questions I read today. And, hold on a second. Let me get this bad boy going here. Listen to this little buzz. There you go. And stay tuned for more Dag Show coming up and all these new things. Life Rides. We're in editing right now, so we should have the first couple of Life Ride episodes done here by the end of the month. And then in February, American Dag Stand starts, and it looks like we're booked up through March with American Dag Stand. So that'll be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys all out there. Oh, and we have the show Let's Eat that's coming up. I know I talked about that a few months back, but it's been really hard to pin down some of the places that we had commitments from, and unfortunately, 2 of them are closing. So those are there's not going to be any point to do it. I put a list up of all these Chicago restaurants that are closing down and bars, and boy, it's really a shame. It's on Facebook.com/The Dag Show, and I'll put it up on the website maybe tonight or tomorrow. But anyway, I will see you either tomorrow or Saturday for another show. Please be good to one another. Like, share, and follow my stuff. Tell your friends. If you like the music, great. If you know other musicians, we're always calling all bands, man. So it's all about some unity here. We're bringing this country back together the best we can. Let's do it. Let's do it the right way, and let's save ourselves in America. We'll talk to you later, guys. Good night, and be good.